Hey everyone, Jim Phoenix here, and welcome to What's Crackin'. Today, my special guest from Witness Infection, the great horror comedy movie, by the way, is none other than Carlos and Jill-Michele. If you've watched a cartoon anywhere in this world, you are familiar with Carlos's work, and if you've watched Mad TV or This Is Meg, definitely are familiar with Jill-Michele. Without any further ado, let's release the Kraken. Hey everyone, it's Jim Phoenix here, and today we have a very special guest. Two of them, actually. We have Carlos and Jill-Michele from Witness Infection. I got to see the movie as a screener, and I have to thank Justin from Arrow for that, because when he sends me screeners, I'm like, oh, this is great. This is for my staff. No, I saw the preview for your movie. I was like, no, sorry guys, this is mine.
Oh, awesome.
I have to start this out. I loved the movie.
Yes!
I love the movie. I love it from the screener, from the preview, from the write-up. Everything works for me.
Great.
And I just can't wait to interview you both. So again, for realsies, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
But I do know that this will come out in March 30th, correct?
Yes,
This year.
30, 2021.
So you must have filmed it right before COVID closed the world down.
Yes.
Yeah, we got it. We actually started filming December of 2018.
Okay.
Then we kind of wrapped up shooting in June of 2019. Is that right, Jill? I think
Yes.
the last pickup shots were June of 2019. So
Yes.
we were safely in under the COVID wire, but a lot of the post-production stuff that we've had to do was during that time. As a matter of fact, we have a screener. We had donors helping us with Indiegogo,
Right.
and two of the people donated for a private screening. And of course, we can't do that. So tomorrow night, we're going to do a Zoom screening with one of our winners and with
That's
the
cool.
cast, as many cast members as can show up. And so, yeah, some of the post and some of the promotion has had to be done during this time of COVID. So, but we were lucky to get it in.
But that's wonderful. And I really love that you're using Indiegogo. There are so many great projects out there, and that you're keeping up with the demands, even though COVID kind of sidetracks people.
Mm-hmm.
You find a way. And then this goes back to a little bit to something of a previous movie that's not going to be Witness Infection. We'll get to that, promise. This Is Meg. And
Yeah.
I've read something. Oh, by the way, I love the movie. I read something about Distribber.
Yeah. Distribber with two
What
R's.
was that? What was that? I mean, I know it was the idea of getting it out, but what was like that?
Well, it was wonderful at the time. They were a great company.
Right.
And we were lucky and fortunate enough that they swooped up This Is Meg and sold it to Hulu right away. So we had a wonderful deal that happened. And then the company went under, and a lot of indie filmmakers were thrown under the bus. And I know Alex Ferrari, our director,
Right.
has spoken very freely about it, and has helped educate and helped a lot of other indie filmmakers feel okay about what happened. So, but This Is Meg we had a really nice success story from it. So I feel bad for the others, but
Right.
that's why we continue as indie filmmakers to continue to make other films, to keep challenging ourselves, to keep helping each other and educating each other, so those things don't continue to happen.
No, and thank you so much for the answer. That's when I was watching the movie, and then I was seeing the story behind distribution, and I'm reading about Witness Infection, and I'm seeing like the COVID, like all these things we don't know are going behind the scenes are going to come out later on,
Right.
can really derail things. And just the imagination and the will and the force and coming together of indie filmmakers that can really push a project over. And I think that's fantastic. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, I interrupted you. One of the most exciting outcomes you can do after you spend all the money and worked on the film is to be able to go to film festivals. And we've had to do ours virtually. And it's just like, oh gosh, the one film festival we did get under the COVID wire with about 20 days to spare was the Ha Comedy Festival in San Antonio, run by Jeff Valdez, coincidentally, who used to run the Latino Laugh Festival, which is where Jilly and I met in the early 2000s. But that was our one live screening where Jill, one of our special effects guy, what was it, Daniel Salazar, I want to say,
Yep.
who worked on the Mr. Georgeman scene with multiple hits in the bat and all that kind of stuff, beautiful stuff. But Vince and Jill and Andy and Daniel were there, and we got to get live feedback. We got to watch the film with other people.
Right.
And we're very remiss that we didn't get to experience that at all the other festivals where we entered and won. We were sort of missing that element. And so
yeah,
it's nice to do these interviews now with people who have seen the film, and we get to talk about it. So.
And finally get some feedback. And I'm so glad you brought up the special effects. My God, they're good.
Oh, thank you.
They are amazing special effects. You have no idea. I was like, because you got comedy and horror, and sometimes comedy horrors do the comedy really well, or they kind of skimp the horror. No, you do it both really well.
Well, we have to applaud Andy Palmer for that, because Carlos and I and Jim Ojala, because Carlos and I, we wrote it knowing that we had the comedy covered. Like we got solid comedic actors. And even Andy coming in is like, this is the first film I've ever done that has been casted before we even go. Like, cause we were like, and we went this person and we went this person and we went this person, because we were friends with all of these people. We've worked with them on other things. And so Andy like sat back, and we had interviewed other directors, and the stuff that came out of their mouth, me and Carlos would look at each other and go, no, that's not it. Like, no, that we don't know. And we were getting kind of nervous. And Carlos goes, listen, I've worked with this amazing director, Andy Palmer. Let's just sit down with him. He gets comedy. He's really good at the horror. And when we sat down with him and he talked about the horror aspect and keeping it really grounded, I was like, yes, because we knew we got the comedy covered. So if someone comes in and can really ground it with that horror, and then having Jim Ojala come in with all the special effects and makeup and all of that, then the comedy, we can bring it. We just need Andy to make sure that we don't get too big, and pull us down if need be. And it was such a beautiful dance on set. It was just, the energy was so fun and alive. And because we had handpicked every single person, there was no poison in the group. How poison spreads fast, and especially in indie film, you can't have that. So it was it was incredible. I can't wait to do it again. Like, I just can't wait to do it again.
I hope you guys do it again.
Thank you. Yeah. We're working on it. So
yeah, we're working on it. But yeah, I knew Jim Ojala from being my neighbor for so many years, and he came out with the movie Strange Nature, and he's a big Rick Baker guy. I'm a big Exorcist fan because of practical makeup effects.
Right.
As well as the story. But Jim, we got solid. We knew we were going to get solid effects. And I wanted, there was a couple of effects that both Jill and I wanted to do. And I especially wanted to do what's something that I've never seen before. And in the bathroom scene, I've never seen a zombie disposed of in that way. And I'm like, Jim, can you do it? He's like, yep, we can do it.
and it was awesome.
Yeah. Jill saw it live. Jill knew what was happening. And I'm in the bathroom filming it. And we score the head which makes the head easier to come off. But there was a surprise to everybody that that shot ended up like it did. It really wasn't supposed to. And Jill, you can tell about what your experience was.
I'm behind the monitor with Andy, and I screamed. And that's a big no-no. We've got one take on this. I was like, ah! I screamed so loud. And I looked at Andy and I was like, did I? And he's like, you're fine. Like, it's like, because I went, oh my God, did I ruin the shot with my stupid scream? But that's how effective it was. And it read on a tiny monitor. So I was like, we got something. I mean, we knew from the beginning when we had the script and we did a table read and we got feedback, they're like, you have something really special here. You have something that mixes so many genres together that we haven't seen before. And that's when Carlos stepped up as an executive producer. And he was like, I want to make this happen, because we knew that if we sold it, they would completely just wipe us away from it. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't probably get made the way we wanted it to be made. And so when he stepped up, I was like, okay, as me, as your partner and as your producer, I will do everything to make sure this is a success. And then COVID happens. And the only big, I think, bonus that might happen because of this, because of COVID and for indie filmmakers, is that if you had it in the can before, there is possible that there will be I call it the baby boomer in my brain, where these little baby indie films will get the success that they didn't get before because everything was shut down and they utilized all of their stuff for streaming already, and they're looking for great content that's already done. So that's my hopes and prayers.
Wow. It's coming across in this awesomely, by the way. And you described that scene perfect. I still have it in my mind.
Good.
And it's great to hear you how to describe it coming that way. And I really like how you're talking about the indie feel and keeping it because part of indie is keeping it yours.
Yeah.
Keeping it yours. You have ownership, you've stake in it, and be part of that creative direction from cradle to grave. Now, the writing process, how did you think of, was it just like one day, like, oh, let's write a movie?
I had both Jilly and I always, I'm a huge Sopranos fan. I've always loved mob stuff, and we both love zombie films. We both love Shaun of the Dead. And I kind of came one day and I said, hey, Joe, what do you think? Because we were batting around ideas. I go, I've always had this idea, like we could write a zombie horror film. And I know there was a video game out there, but I had never seen it that had involved some of those elements, but they're in prison. And and she goes, yeah, that's a great idea. And then she just started helping me to round out all the characters, and turn it into a story from just a ball of clay that was just an idea. Jill, with her mind, was able to add structure, add characters, and really turn it into two warring families. The arranged marriage thing, which at the time I loved Peaky Blinders, and that was one of the episodes where one of the younger brothers has to marry the gypsy family to stop them from killing each other. So we added that, and then Jill had some ideas about the Dominic character and about the Patricia character and about her character, and we knew Vince Don Vito, and so it was Jill provided a lot of the structure and a lot of the additional characters as well.
But with Carlos and I, we've been friends for so long, and we toured as comedians together, and so we have this a very family type of relationship. So I say that loosely because some families don't like each other, but we like each other, and so we're able to write in a way that we don't, if someone tells us like, oh, shit, be quiet, 1 second, there's no offense that is taken, and we listen to each other, and we're always having a forward direction in our brains. Like we're always like moving forward. We're not those people that sit and can stay on a scene for like 4 days. We don't. We just go, let's put it down and let's just keep moving. And then we're able to come through and pull out what we don't like, add in what we like. So that's the way our brains are very similar. We work fast. And so for us, it was such a joy. Like we couldn't wait to get on FaceTime to like write with each other. We just like, oh, and then I have this idea and so it was definitely, it's such a joy to work with Carlos, and we're continuing. Like he can't go anywhere. So
no, we're stuck together. But we also we had the ability to trust Andy Palmer as a filmmaker who had done Funhouse Massacre and Camp Colebrook. And Andy looked at our script and said, here's what will work as from the film part of it, because with your budget and our time, here's what's going to work. Here's what we need to cut. And we just let Andy go through it with a red line. And I think he made it better. He made it more cinematic because we had a lot of fat, and Andy was just like, no, you can cut this and still tell that story, especially if we shoot it like this. Wow. So that really helped. Andy really helped get us to a better place for sure.
Yeah, because it comes across streamlined, and I keep smiling when we're talking about the arranged marriage, because there's a scene that I won't ruin it, no spoilers. There's a scene at the dinner that just goes like, oh, really? This? And it's like you always know that there's always that one guy, and it's so fleshy because it's based in something something in reality, something you can touch, even though it's zombies in this.
Yeah, totally. And it came even down with our set director and production designer, which is one of my dear friends, was like, and this is not to give anything away, is the outdoor dinner scene, they were in folding chairs. And I'm like, That's how Italians have dinner outside. They grab the chairs and they go, let's put the chairs out. We'll put a cloth and let's have some dinner. They put paper plates. They don't care. You know, it's like, but it's as authentic as that family really is. In a Latino home, that's how we did it too. We're like, everybody go outside and put the paper plates and put the folding chairs. So we had, because we're both Latin, even though we're very white Latins, we were able to bring that kind of family into the Italian world very organically. So I hopefully that translated.
100%. It does. It comes across beautifully, and it really is a family film.
Yeah.
It's about the family, and it's everyone's horror and comedy, but it's still that family junction that glues it all together.
Yeah, it has that dynamic. Rob was the perfect straight man, as it were, with comedic lacings. You know, his family's nuts, and he's like, he even says it in the trailer. Is this Game of Thrones? What's happening with you people? I just want to be a dog room. Oh, this family, that family. Come on, it's 2000 something. Are we still doing this? Yeah, we're still doing it. You know?
That's wonderful. And it's the same guy in the insane world.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really, that's really what pushes it through, which is something to bring it back a little bit, dial back 10 years. Carlos, you had The Club, I believe.
Yeah.
Your YouTube movie, like little clips,
YouTube
TV
clips.
show.
It was supposed to be pitched as a series, and it's a comedy club owner who was a manager and trying to be the babysitter to all these different comedians.
Right.
And it was shot by Ted Nicolau, who I met through, who actually was sound design on Chainsaw Massacre, because Ted's from Texas, and a big horror guy too, who was one of the directors we had thought about, but we ended up, luckily, they're both great, but we went with Andy Palmer. But yes, I made The Club. It was a comedy film. And then Jill and I had collaborated on This Is Meg. She asked me to play the spiritualist on that one. So we had experiences in working in genres where, Meg is the straight person in this crazy world. She's going to an ayahuasca ceremony going, what the hell is going on? So there's elements of The Club where we played the straight person trying to steer through this insanity. Right. And I think we funneled that into Rob's character in our own movie together. So
now I'm glad I wasn't the only one thinking that, because I'm like, this reminds me of like the straight. Yeah, absolutely. And then that string goes back forever then. And I really like the way that The Club works. I really like the way This Is Meg works. And I love the way Witness Infection works. And it's all showing that you don't need to have this huge production company that we are going to, you must do this. Now do this junket, do that one. Now you have to do this.
Yeah.
You could, as artists, it has to be freeing because you're both comedians. It must be freeing and go like, well, I didn't have to do this when I was getting booked at the clubs. So I could just bring that work ethic to making a movie. Let's see if we can get this done. And it brilliant.
Thank you.
It's just brilliant. So it really is. Now, when you're writing the scripts, and I know you're saying Jilly brought in some of the characters and the sketches. Does that come back from your Mad TV work, where you had to do the pitching of the characters? It's all character based.
Absolutely. I think, and Carlos and I, one of our strengths as stand-up comics also is character work. We both go in and out of voices, and him from all his cartoons. Yes. We go in and out of voices on a daily basis. Like, I don't even realize I do so many voices when I'm talking to somebody and they're like, oh my God, you're just so funny. And I'm like, what? Like, cause I'll talk about my dad and I'll be like, so my dad called and he was like, oh yeah, so anyways, let me tell you something, and everyone's like dying. I'm like, no, but that's how he talks. Like, I don't understand. Like, so for us, characters are really strong. And in my brain, if I don't see it as an action figure, then I don't want to write it. Like, it is the weirdest. That's how my brain works. So character development for me, is huge. And I need to see each person have an arc. And that's very important, that each individual has an arc, because somebody watching in that audience is going to relate to one of those people. So who are they going to relate to? I don't know. They could relate to Carlo. They could relate to Gina, Patricia. I don't know, but someone will relate to one of them. And that's as stand-up comics. We do all these stories. We're constantly telling these stories that someone's going to relate to something in our story. And that's why I think Carlos and I had a lot of success as stand-ups, is because we were more mainstream. And we just didn't target one audience. So we brought that now to filmmaking.
Mhm.
And it reflects so well. And I love how you both are hitting home the character arcs. And that is one of the major strengths of Witness Infection is the character arcs, because it's character driven horror comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not making them do things that's against character. Like, no, it's all character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
one of the
reaction.
best reviews we got, and it's in the trailer, is that, note to Jim Jarmusch, this is how you get your buddies and do a zombie film. And I love Jarmusch. I love Down by Law.
Mhm.
I love Mystery Train. Stranger Than Paradise. I love Jim Jarmusch. But when I saw that film, and then when I saw Zombieland 2, I love Zombieland 1.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't work. You try to do too much. And we really, and Jill will tell you, we really followed the model of Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and Shaun of the Dead,
Yeah.
And we thought that's the way you write a film. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That's the way you write a film. You really rely on the strength of the characters. And I think we tried to emulate that.
No, and speaking of those, well, Shaun of the Dead especially, and I do know you were both saying that you want to keep writing together. Is there a sequel?
That's not the next script we're working on. Our next script is completely different family comedy. But yes, we and some of the film festivals we've done, we've got an idea, right, Joe? We have something in mind and borrowing from a couple of the characters.
And also, too, we wanted to see how well received Witness Infection is. So we do have an idea for a sequel. But because of the pandemic and we were in quarantine, we were like, well, we don't want to stop being creative. So Carlos and I decided to write a family comedy with a Latinx lead and take it in a different direction, just to go into that genre, because it's something that we both are very, familiar with, family and comedy. So it was a really fun ride to do, but I cannot wait to write another comedy horror. Like, I am just, because it's more for me, it's just so fun. I just love it so much. Yeah. So definitely we have an idea for a sequel. So hopefully the audience will love Witness Infection and we'll take off writing with it.
Yeah.
Well, I know I love Witness Infection. Like I said, from the trailer onwards, I just knew that was it. No one else gets this one. I get this one.
Hey.
I actually am doing a podcast on it and next week, because it premieres on the 30th. And I'm like, we're talking about it before it happens.
Oh, awesome.
The energy, the excitement, the craft, it's all there for Witness Infection. And I mean, from the writing down to the credits, everything. It just works. It works. The first, it's almost like a cold open. Like the first start of the movie, it just, that could be the entire thing as a short. And I was like clapping for it.
We were telling another interviewer that it's very Peter Benchley, it's very Scooby-Doo. Peter Benchley, Jaws, woman runs down to the beach, she jumps in the water, something horrific happens, and then off you go. And so I really always love those old Scooby-Doo things where and cut to like Scoob, these snacks are delicious. It's a total Scooby-Doo borrowing, emulation. But we were happy that we wrote it that way, and Andy got it. And we got two great actors, Ryan Bottiglieri and Ben Begley, who I met Andy Palmer through on a series and then on Funhouse Massacre. But that really sets the tone, right? Yeah. But it also is like, wait a minute, we just went from this first scene inside a woman in a dog grooming place with her friend taking a quiz. How are these two going to relate? And I've always loved that style of writing. How are you going to marry these two disparate scenes and make them work together?
Yeah. And I love the quiz. Sorry.
No, that's where Andy, he just totally got it. I was like, I want to go from something so disgusting, and then we go to bright and happy and cheery and with dogs, and he was like, I know what you want.
Yeah.
Which works great. It's also Shaun of the Dead, right? It's their real life still happens.
Yes.
Like all this backing this stuff and to have the characters have all that one thing, like you're saying about the character arcs, relatable thing. We've all been like, I have to study for this, and you're just trying to go through normal life.
Yeah.
And then everything, for them, it's a zombie apocalypse. For us, it was COVID. You know,
Right.
something comes in and the meteor hits Earth.
Yeah.
And see what happens after that. And again, it sounds like all I do is gush about Witness Infection, but it really
Gush
is.
away.
Gosh, if you stop listening to my voice right now, put your pencils down, go watch it. Do you guys have a release schedule for it? I know it's coming out on March 30th, according to IMDb.
Yeah, there's pre-sales on iTunes, right, Jilly?
Yeah, we just received a link for the pre-sale. So we'll be
Catherine,
posting that on our website, which is witnessinfection.com. And then, of course, on all the actor social media, we'll be getting it out to them. They'll be posting it as well. But there's a pre-sale link for iTunes. And then March 30th, it'll be like on all on-demand platforms.
Yeah, all video on demand platforms, DirecTV, Amazon, a couple of those out there. There's a full list that our publicist has, and hopefully they have sent that to you.
No, I'll get that. And that's just amazing. A matter of fact, I believe in the project so much. I'm going to buy one from some random Twitter person. Tweet at us. We'll get you a copy. No problems. 100% paid for. I love the film, and I love supporting indie comedy and horror. How could you go wrong?
It's fun. It's fun. And it's streamlined. It's, you're not going to be there for a Peter Jackson 3.5 hour film. We get it. We want to
My
do this
butt
film.
has not recovered yet.
Yeah, there's a beginning, middle, and an end. There's fun. There's horror. There's mobsters. There's poison sausage.
There's
great
romance.
acting, there's romance. Forget about it. There's everything.
It is true. And
From.
no, that's amazing. And in the beginning, when I was watching the Witness Infection trailer, and I loved it and all these things, and it was the art, but I really appreciate your works behind comedy, behind entertainment. And I really do appreciate the voices, you using your voices to give other people who don't have a platform.
Yeah.
And it's really, really, if I can tell the listeners one thing, is support people who are supportive. People, it's good. It's paying it forward. It really is.
Yeah.
And that's one of the major things I appreciate about your entire body of work.
Thank you.
Everything.
Yeah, and Vince teaches karate to kids, and he works with a young boy, Grayson, who has to wear like an oxygen.
Right.
And Vince has been really instrumental in the development of young children as a black belt karate master. He really dedicates a lot of his time, and he's very, very good. And Rob does too with his community work, and we have just a lot of great people. Andy. So we work with like-minded people that go beyond just being what they do or who they are.
Mm-hmm.
No, you really are being that change you want to see in the world. And
thank you.
Again, Witness Infection comes out March 30th on streaming all over. You can pre-order through iTunes right now. Bug me on a tweet. I'll get you a copy. No big deal. Mm-hmm. And support people who are not only comedic and entertainment geniuses, but just darn nice people.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you again, Carlos. Thank you again, Jilly, for all of your time. I know we're kind of going over a bit, and I apologize.
Thank you, Jim.
But I've had a wonderful time. And is there anything you want to plug?
Witness Infection comes out March 30th, 2021. Hopefully the new Reno movie is coming out on the Paramount Network. That was announced. I'm working on the Casa Grandes. You can hear me on Stephanie Miller if you're politically minded. Stephanie Miller, Free Speech Radio, and that's about it. And a new script coming from Jilly and I, hopefully that we can sell.
Yes. And if you're bored at home and you're waiting for Witness Infection to come out until March 30th, then you can watch This Is Meg on Amazon Prime. You can watch my 1 hour special, White Latina, on Amazon Prime. Another great movie I play Ed Asner's daughter called In Vino is on Amazon Prime as well.
It's the Amazon trifecta right there.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for coming and just watch the movie. March 30th.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye, guys.